have you. I think you owe me something.
But I don't know what you're talking about.
My money! Yeah, take that little Travis, money.
But I don't have any money.
What do you mean in that money? Hey, I have money next time.
Hi, I'm Julio Anta of Anta's Fitness and Self-Defense in Miami, Florida. I developed the Art of Fighting Without Fighting anti-bullying program for everyone. For kids that are being bullied, for adults that are being bullied. I'm going to give you a lot of examples of when I was bullied as a kid, how I solved it, sometimes wrong, sometimes right, and even as an adult. I developed the Art of Fighting Without Fighting anti-bullying program through a lot of trial and error, through a lot of study. I'm certified directly under Dr. Terence Webster Doyle. He's my mentor. Dr. Terence Webster Doyle developed this anti-bullying program called Bully Busters program. He has written, I would say, 20-something books on the subject, and it's an expert on it. I got fully certified with his program, but I didn't just stop there. I bought every anti-bullying program I could find, every self-defense program on bullying that I could find, and read everything on bullying that I could to be able to put this program together. And the way we put this program together, I'm going to explain later, has a lot to do with people that I've never met, such as Bruce Lee, Emmy Lettenfeld, Ronald Reagan, Helio Gracie. These are people that I've never met that inspired me. And you'll understand why, how this program got put together to empower children, teenagers, and adults to be able to walk in peace and live fit and fearless without having to fear that bully, that thug that might try to hurt them. This video, The Art of Fighting Without Fighting Anti-Bullying, is not just great, as I said earlier, for the adult, the teenager, the child that's being bullied. This is great for everyone. For school teachers, martial arts instructors, fitness instructors, church leaders, Boy Scout, Girl Scouts, all types of different organizations. My background and what helped me develop this outside of all the studying I've done has been my martial arts and fitness. I'm a martial arts and fitness instructor. I was awarded the rank of Hung Gar Kung Fu Master by the late Grandmaster Bill Chung. I'm certified in Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do as an instructor. I'm also certified 2 different organizations of Krav Maga and Haganah, Israeli self-defense, Muay Thai kickboxing. But I think most of all, what's helped me the most with this bullying program was the 10 years that I spent working as a correction officer or a prison guard, you might say, at a maximum security prison. That's where I saw the ultimate case of bullying. And I was also a sergeant in the Marine Corps, and there we had to deal with a lot of bullying. We actually even bullied people. So we're going to be talking a lot about that, a lot about my background, and as I say all the time, peace through strength. The great Ronald Reagan said that. And that's why I believe so much in fitness and getting in shape to build your confidence to become bully-proof. One of the great and important things of the Art of Fighting Without Fighting video is, in this video, you're not only going to see me here, sitting in my desk in my office, explaining to you the different aspects of bullying and different problems. You will also get to see part of my workshops and seminars. Plus, you'll also get to see some of my students practicing verbal and self-defense. So you'll get a little bit of everything. Now, another important thing is that it is controversial, bullying, and the way that I am going to explain it. I'm going to hit every end. I'm going to have religious people, conservatives, liberals, not agree with me on everything. But one of the important things that I've learned from my pastor, Bobby Cruz Jr., was that no 2 people will agree on everything. If we get 1,000 people and I share my opinion, whether they are from my ethnic group, my religion, the things that I like to do, martial arts, fitness, we're not all going to agree. No two people can agree on anything. So I don't expect all of you to agree on everything that I say, but at least respect it and take what you believe you want to take and it's true for your beliefs, and use it to help us stomp out bullying and change this world one child, one teenager, or one adult at a time. Now let me tell you why it's called the Art of Fighting Without Fighting Anti-Bullying Program. Why I gave it that name and how I was influenced by obviously Bruce Lee. As a Jeet Kune Do instructor, I'm definitely influenced by Bruce Lee, to me the greatest martial art and the person that's influenced my life the most that I've never met. Yet, the Art of Fighting Without Fighting comes from the movie Enter the Dragon. In Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee is in this ship getting ready to go to Han's Island to fight. Yet, there's a bully. There's a karate world champion bully, I think from Australia, that's bullying all the Chinese on board. He's tripping them, doing things to them. And Bruce Lee kind of gives him that eye with confidence. And the guy comes up to him, asks him what style does he do? And he goes, the art of fighting without fighting. So the guy wants to fight him there and kind of challenges him to fight him there. And Bruce Lee says, no, we can't, there's no space here. For me to show you the art of fighting without fighting, we got to both get into that boat and go to that small island. So what does Bruce Lee do? He tells them to go first. This guy gets in the boat and Bruce Lee lets go of the rope, gives it to the Chinese guys that were being bullied, and defeated this guy with the art of fighting without fighting. They didn't have to fight. He tricked them. So that's one of the places it came from. The techniques pretty much come from Jeet Kune Do, from Krav Maga, and from Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. And let me explain a little bit and how it's influenced by them. Emil Ledenfeld, that developed Krav Maga, the Israeli self-defense, he said, I do Krav Maga to walk in peace. He didn't say I do Krav Maga to protect against all the enemies around us that are trying to annihilate us and, destroy us and take over our land. He said to walk in peace. And then the motto of the Art of Fighting Without Fighting I chose from Ronald Reagan. I consider Ronald Reagan the greatest president of my lifetime, and I was born in 1957. Ronald Reagan made the country strong. His motto was peace through strength. You guys know it. Who gets picked on? The quiet kid, the kid that's a little different, that's a little silly, that looks weak. Nobody picks on that strong football player or that big, tough, mean-looking bully. People pick on the weak. So when you're strong, you don't have a need to fight. When America was strong in Ronald Reagan's day, remember the famous saying? Mr. Gorbachev knocked the wall down. He defeated communism without shooting one shot. Man, that is the art of fighting without fighting. Peace through strength. And that's the mindset. We got to develop our body strong. Learn the techniques so we don't have to fight, or worst case scenario, control that bully without hurting him bad. And where does Gracie Jiu-Jitsu come in? Well, Julio Gracie developed this system. I'm a student of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. And he was able to get a weaker person to control the other person. So you'll see some Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in our techniques also. So remember, we do the art of fighting without fighting, to walk in peace, and peace through strength. The Art of Fighting Without Fighting anti-bullying video can change your life. When most people don't understand, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and my background. Most people think, because today, as I'm doing this, I'm 56 years old, and I'm in great shape. So most people feel that I was that athletic kid, that star athlete. Totally wrong. I was the shortest, skinniest kid in my class and the last one picked. Well, I can't change my height, but I did change my body. And today I feel that I can outdo most people half my age in the things I choose to excel in. But let me tell you how it all started. I came from Cuba, communist country, to the United States like 2 weeks before my 5th birthday. Well, that's when bullying started for me. I come to this new country, which I love, and I think it's the greatest country in the world. But because I didn't speak English, some of the kids would pick on me and do things because I wouldn't understand them, I guess. My parents moved to New York, and there I got sick. Believe it or not, I was sick because of the cold weather. I took some immunizations that got me sick, almost died. So I'm a sick kid that's learning to speak English. You know, I didn't like fighting. My dad was the opposite. My dad was one of the people that I've known, my greatest influence in life. Yet, the way he handled things sometimes, he understood later that it could have handled them different, even though it did work at the point. So, let me get to the point. One day, I'm in New York, get out of school, and I have no idea why. Some kid wants to take my shoes. My shoes! We're talking about 1962. And I remember that I was hanging from a fence, and the kid was pulling my shoes. Why? I don't know, and I don't understand. I didn't understand hardly any English. My girl cousin, it was bigger than I was, and a year older, way bigger, came, stopped the kid. I don't remember if she got in a fight with him or scared him away. We go home. She's all proud, and I thought it was cool. Wow, my girl cousin just saved me from a bully. When I told my dad that, oh my God, when I got home, he was screaming and yelling and told me, how can you let anyone do that to you? It's unacceptable. Bought me, believe it or not, pointy shoes. And told me tomorrow, I wouldn't lie to my dad, you're going to go to school and I'm going to stay far away and you're going to tell me who the kid is. I want you to run at him and start kicking him in the shins. Boy, he knew about Krav Maga before I did, I guess. And street fighting. So I run over. I told him, it's that one there. You run over there. I started kicking the kids in the shin, kicking them. The kid ran away, cried. Never bothered me again, would go the other way. All of a sudden, I started getting confidence. Every time somebody bothered me, bullied me, I would kick them in the shins. But guess what? The school called, told my parents I couldn't wear those shoes no more. I'm sure it would have worked without the pointy shoes, but that was my confidence that I lost. That wasn't the correct way. We can figure out better ways. If there was a good martial arts program that taught anti-bullying, that could have been the best thing for me to build my confidence. Throughout life, as a kid, I would get in a lot of fights. Felt that I won almost every fight, but guess what? I would pick my fights. If that kid was really big, he was still bullying me. So I had to figure out, what can I do for my kids and for other children not to go through these horrors that I went through? And that's when I started to, I started martial arts because I wanted to learn to defend myself. So I decided to learn from Dr. Terence Webster Doyle, but I continue to develop my own techniques. And you're going to learn more about the techniques we developed in the art of fighting without fighting. The psychological aspect. How to defeat that bully. How to understand the mind of the bully. Why the bully has more problems than the kids being bullied. But what I want you guys to understand is that you can change your life. I did. I went from a kid, shy, quiet, skinny, weak, low self-esteem, low confidence. Even when I won things and did things, I still didn't have the confidence. And martial arts changed my life. And that's how I'm using it in the art of fighting without fighting. But I'm not the only one. There's a lot of successful people that were bullied also. Good friends of mine, very well-known fitness instructors. Kevin Kearns, the top MMA fitness instructors in strength and conditioning. Kevin wrote a book, Last One Picked. Man, when he wrote that book, I go, that was me, the last one picked. Kevin is in excellent shape today, does martial arts and trains fighters. And Bud Jeffries, one of the strongest men in the world, tours the world, or the U.S., tours the U.S., giving bullying workshops, doing strongman stunts. Who would think that Bud Jeffries would have gotten bullied? Incredible strong guy that could do all types of things. Well, he was bullied because at one time he was in a full cast and he was overweight. People will get bullied. Bullies get bullied. But, don't despair. That's why the Art of Fighting Without Fighting anti-bullying program can change your life. A martial arts program alone and an anti-bullying program alone is not going to help you when the bully comes to pick on you. There's a lot of reasons. We need to teach you the correct things to do, especially here in the United States. If you fight, you're going to get suspended. So we believe that the best way to win a fight is the art of fighting without fighting, or what we call verbal Jeet Kune Do. That's verbalizing and defeating that bully with your mind. But that will not work unless you have the confidence that if that bully comes and attacks you, you can defend yourself. But the great thing about the art of fighting without fighting is that we're going to first teach you, first, as I said, verbalization or verbal Jeet Kune Do. Then we're going to help teach you how to stop the attack, control the bully, and tell him you don't want to fight. And we're going to teach the parents how to talk to the school if they try to suspend your child and what to do. Yet both, like I said, together, an anti-bullying program with a reality-based street defense program, Jeet Kune Do flow drills, self-defense, and sparring is the key to defeating the bully. All those factors, the verbalization, the teaching them to project their voice. Why do you think, guys, I have them scream all the time? One, sir! Why? Because if they talk like this to the bully's going to destroy them. But it takes time. It's not going to happen maybe in 6 months or a year. It might take longer for the child to have it all together, to know how to verbalize, to know the distance, to know that he or she can defend themselves if they grab them by the neck, to know that they can escape from a bully that's holding their hands on the ground. It takes time, but you got to have it all together. And that's the key to defeating the bully, the whole program we put together. And we call that, again, the art of fighting without fighting. We believe that when you fight, there's another important thing, you both lose. If I get in a fight with someone, we both lose. Either one of us or both of us are going to get hurt. In my case, since I have a clean record, I'll get a misdemeanor. I don't want a misdemeanor. In their case, they're going to get suspended. So, yet for these peaceful warrior techniques to work, you must walk with confidence. To walk with confidence, you must know that you could defeat that bully physically. That's where reality-based self-defense comes in. You guys must have, a lot of you that are here hear me say this all the time. The average black belt loses against the bully, whether it's a little kid black belt or an adult black belt. We're not going to teach martial arts sport. We're teaching reality-based self-defense. So, you guys here, can you guys tell me the difference between a hero and a bully? Who can? Yes, ma'am. That's it. I was expecting 20 answers that were good, but the main answer, the difference between a bully and a martial artist is respect. Very good, Megan. Everybody give her some energy. The art of fighting without fighting, we believe in 4 steps. 4 steps. The 4th one is the best one if you're being bullied. The first one, we call it a bully magnet. If you were being picked on and you joined our school, or you put your good kids here because somebody was bullying them, we call them a bully magnet. It's not to put them down, but we're going to tell them things that they can do later that they can change. There's things you can't change at the bully, and we're going to talk about that later. But the first one, we call it a bully magnet. Bullies pick on you. Then when you start our school, we call it a bully repellent and training. And what we mean by that is you start in a martial arts school learning verbal and physical self-defense. You're not a bully repellent yet, but you're in training. You want to be a bully repellent. You don't want those bullies to come to you. You want those bullies, to stay away from you. Now, when you've been studying here for a few years and you've got confidence and you're sparring every Friday or Saturday and you learn the self-defense techniques, you become a bully repellent because you're going to walk with confidence, and we're going to talk about that soon. Bullies don't bother you. You're sparring and you know reality-based self-defense. You become a bully repellent. Guys, bullies do not pick on the strongest kid in the school. Bullies pick on the kid that's different, has a handicap, and we're going to talk about that later, or is very quiet and nice, or very silly. But we're going to talk about that later. Now the final step, and the most important step, is a superhero protecting. Everybody here well, I'm sure that most of you like superheroes, correct? Yes, sir. And you would like to be a superhero, correct?
Yes, sir.
You can be a real superhero. But you first have to become a bully repellent. And that takes years and dedication. Superhero protecting. Look for your chance to help the weak and defend those being bullied. Now, you guys know, tell me, just scream out your favorite superhero. Okay, what do those superheroes usually do? Protect the weak. You could be just like that. And the way, I don't know if I have it later, but I'm going to say it now. Now, who are the real superheroes? Do you know that? Real ones. Not the comic books, yes. Policemen, what else? Firefighters, yes. Doctors. Medical assistants. Nurse. There's another real important one that I haven't heard. Military. Those are the real superheroes. They all have uniforms. They save lives. One way, the police officer saves the lives of somebody that's being attacked. Firefighter, if you're in a fire or if you're sick, they come sometimes to help you. Teachers save lives because they could change a kid that could go in a bad route and teach them to do things.
Instructors.
That too, teach you. But see, it doesn't work for us unless you change. Because our job is to change you. Now, those are the real superheroes. Even though we all like Batman, Superman, and all those. Here's Diego Ordonez. Diego, come over here.
Stop!
I want Diego to project his voice. Diego, later he's going to do it with a kid. When I come too close to you, you tell me what you need to tell me.
Back up! I don't want any trouble! Did you force me to fight a wall?
Okay, watch this. Look at that face. Go. Say it.
Back up! I don't want any trouble! Did you force me to fight a wall?
Now, how many bullies are going to come with that face? Thank you, sir. Everybody come energy. I'm going to beat the devil out of you! Let's try that again. Ain't no! Very good. Now, I'm going to randomly go up to a person, and I'm going to scream and yell to see if you guys got it. And you don't know who you're going to be, because I can turn around, I can walk around, I can come to the person, I'm going to intimidate some people. How are you looking at?
Back up! Run away! Brother!
Very good. I'll just give you that. Very good. People are practicing. Good job, guys. If I come to Mr. Chow like this, hey, how you doing, Mr. Chow? And just touch his hand like this. Shows weak. Every culture is different. Some cultures, if you squeeze the hand, it's a challenge. I'm not telling you to break the hand. But it's like, look in his eyes, walk the car. How you doing, sir?
Good, you, sir.
Great meeting you.
Nice meeting you, sir.
Okay? That's some of the things we work. It starts with that. Now, when you know you can survive a physical attack by the bully, you'll walk with confidence. What do we have to look at before they do it? To avoid being a bully magnet, you must walk with confidence. You must look the person in the eyes, use your verbal Jeet Kune Do, that's project your voice, good posture, and a firm handshake. Okay, go greet him, Mateo, and do it.
Hey, baby, you have a good day? Good, and you? Good.
Okay, very good. Give him some energy. When confronted with a bully, when confronted by the bully, whether verbally or physically, you need to get this 4-point defense if confronted by the bully. Mr. Archer, come over here.
Yes, sir.
One is presence. The bully's there. Presence. Okay, I have to have presence. I can't be like this. Presence. He sees me, I see the bully. 2, verbal jickin-do. If he's not attacking me, I'll come up to him like they did. How you doing, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Great. Now, I think he's attacking me. Stance. Hey, back off, I don't want any problems. And whether I get in the fight or he walks away, I have to report it. You tell your teacher, you tell your parents, you tell your coach, you tell your Kung Fu instructors if it's here. Never keep bullying a secret. These are the 4-point defense against a bully. Now, here's what I need. I need everybody to stand up.
Sir, sir.
I need everybody to get a spot in front of the mirror, because this is what happens. You got to get used to looking at yourself, open your mouth big. One of my teachers, the XMA teacher, Mike Chapp, which was a Power Ranger, and he's the one that taught Taylor Loeffler. And John Paul has trained in his school, and he's a friend of mine. He's a shy guy. And he would go acting and in the mirror scream. So everybody get in front of the mirror. Let's go, one straight line.
Over here, over here, over here.
This you can practice at home. And I want you to look at yourself with your hands up. And I want you to scream loud to the bully. Back off! I don't want any problems! I want to see you open your mouth big. Again, go. Good job, good job. Let me hear some energy. What is bullying? I'll give you my answers, but I'm sure you're going to have answers that I don't have. Who can tell me what bullying is? Yes, sir.
That, like, against the bully, the greatest victory is not fighting.
Exactly, but what is bullying is what I asked. Yes, sir.
A bully that picks on you, sir.
Someone that picks on you. Very good. What else?
Calls you names and wants to take things from you, like your lunch.
Yes, yes.
Someone that makes you feel bad, sir.
Yes, very good. Makes you feel bad.
Is that?
Why? Kids are not bad. We just got to lead them the right way. But to you, he's bad because he does bad things to you. Yes.
They take your lunch.
They take your lunch. That's why they get overweight and you're losing weight. So when they become adults, you tell them thank you because I'm in shape and you're out of shape. Yes. They what? I can't hear you. Hitting. Okay. Yes. They try to hurt you. Yes. Pick fights. Yes.
Sometimes they make people do this.
Uh-huh. Yes.
With their buddy that picks on you, sir.
Yes. Now, I'm going to read it. Yes, sir. Last one. They never give respect. Very bullying to you. Raise your hands. What is bullying to you, sir?
Terrible, sir.
It is terrible, but tell me something. That is a great answer. It's terrible. Bullying, which we're going to talk about later, is if somebody calls you names, people, gang members are bullies, terrorists are bullies, dictators are bullies. Those are high-end bullies. Lower-end bullies are kids, adults, that are not of any of those things. But I want you to tell me things that a bully can do or say to you is what I want. So tell me, what can a bully do or say to you? Yes, sir.
Call you names.
Call you names. What else? Sir.
Raise your hands.
Hit you, but I want you to project your voice, okay? Hit you, sir! Okay? Yes, sir.
Take your money, sir.
Take your money. That's
Sir,
projecting a
sir.
voice. Yes.
Making enough names to you.
Giving you names, making up names. Yes, sir. Over there in the red. Yes.
Fighting without fighting.
Well, that's what you want to do, but the bully wants to fight you, but that's a good answer. Yes, sir. Choking you. That's getting violent now. Yes.
Kicking, sir.
Kicking you. I like that voice projection. Now, give us some energy. I'm going to read a bunch of things that are bullying. You guys gave me beautiful answers. Name calling, making things up about others, hitting, punching, biting, pushing, shoving, taking things away from someone, damaging belongings, stealing money, gossip, that's talking about your friends or other people, posting insulting messages on the internet, taking friends away from you, spreading rumors about you, threats and intimidation, making abusive phone calls or mean phone calls, sending mean, offensive text messages, negative messages on social media like Facebook and other things. Those are things, what you said and what I said about bullying. Now, who can tell me when they do those things to you, how do you feel? Yes, sir, how do you feel?
Weak, sir.
You feel weak?
Sad.
Sad?
Scared.
Scared?
Bad, sir.
Bad?
Angry.
Angry?
Did I want to punch them?
You feel, yes, that's true. You feel you want to punch them because you don't want to take it anymore. You feel dumb because they make you feel that way. Yes. Upset. Afraid. Happy? How can you be happy if somebody smacks you in the head and calls your name? All right, now. Anything that you can do to someone that bothers them is bullying. If your friend, your brother, your sister says, stop calling me that name, Mr. Chow. And maybe you come by and you play around, hey, how you doing? And Mr. Chow says, Mr. Anta, can you stop smacking my shoulder?
Mr. Anta, can you please stop smacking my shoulder?
Yes, sir. Because he doesn't like that.
I got a
That's
bum
bullying.
shoulder.
People on this side,
Come over here.
listen to me. You guys don't say nothing yet without saying a bad word. I want you to think everything you've heard a bully say or a bully said to you without saying a bad word to your partner. This side, don't say a word. Go. Stop! Now this side, you're the bully. No bad words. Scream, yell, tell them whatever you want. Go. Stop! Stop! Look at me, everybody. The reason I'm telling you to do that, bullies are going to say things. You don't believe it. Are you extraordinary or ordinary? Extraordinary people wear uniforms like superheroes, like police officers, like fighter, like the military. You're extraordinary. So you don't care what that bully says. Now this time, this side the bullies are going to scream and yell. This side you're going to lift up your hands and you're going to say, back off. I don't want any problems. And keep on saying it. Ready? This side? Go. This side. And stop. Stop. Now this side's the bully and this side says, stop. I don't want any problems. Go. And stop. Good job. There are different types of bullies, but today I want to talk about 11 different types of bullies. Let's start with the tough guy. You know the tough guy. Walks around like he's tough, pushes kids around, smacks them in the head, talks tough. A lot of them try to have that, that tough guy talk, dress, the big clothing, the pants down. That's one type of bully. We have the joker. The joker. Every time you come around, he cracks a joke. He might be your friend, but he's always joking around and making you feel bad. The joker makes other people laugh at you. Makes you feel terrible. He's always joking around. A lot of people like him because he's so funny. And then we got to also look at, sometimes you watch TV shows and you see the TV show making fun of certain things. Well, that's TV. Do unto others as you want others to do unto you, the Bible says. How would you like if somebody's always cracking jokes about you? So think about that. Then we have the smart bully, believe it or not. The smart bully makes fun of kids that aren't smart. Some of them could be principal's honor roll. All different types of gets good grades but makes fun of you, tells you you're dumb. Says you can't be as good as he or she. We had an incident in our school once. One of our junior black belt girls. Literally, they accused her of being a bully. But when the whole story came around, the school found out the truth, she was being what we call a superhero, but did it in the wrong way. What happened was, this girl has a friend, and this other girl that's a friend of theirs is always putting them down, but especially her friend, because she's principal's honor roll, she's in the gifted program, and this other girl wasn't. So where does my student make her mistake? This girl threatened the girl, would tell her other people not to be her friend, he even wanted to beat her up, just because she didn't like her because she wasn't as smart, supposedly, or book smart. So the student of mine, when we teach him to be a superhero to protect others, did it but in the wrong way. What did she do? She texted to the other girl, if you keep on bothering my friends, you're going to have to look for me and I'm going to beat you up. The father of the girl bully went to the news, to the school, reporting this girl. When the school gets to the bottom of it, and even the police came in, they find out that the other girl was the bully. She had a lot of problems, her mom had died, but still, she was the bully. But that's a smart bully. The bully that makes fun of you for not being as good as them or book smart. Now, let's go to the other extreme. The underachiever. That's one of the worst bullies I see today. When I was a kid, nobody made fun of the kids that got good grades. But it's happening. Especially when they go to middle school. The underachievers are cool. Always since I was a kid. That kid that looked older, that had a job, that drove a car, was always picking on everybody, had all the good-looking girls in high school. Usually, you know how they look today? Fat, out of shape, with a low-paying job because they quit school. But the underachiever really wants to be more like you, but makes fun of you. Today I see a lot of my students, 11 years old in 6th grade, starting middle school. Used to be honor roll, gifted program, getting low grades. They don't want to be called up to get awards. That is terrible. It's like they say, or the so-called nerd. You're smart, so they call you a nerd. Guess what? That nerd might be your boss one day because they're studying, they're focused. So, the underachiever bully envies you, wants to be like you. Sometimes they mistreat you because you do martial arts. I had a case like that. When we used to teach at an elementary school, kids were telling me this kid was always making fun of them, calling them names for doing martial arts. I think they were like 5th graders. And finally I confronted the kid, talked to him. Why do you do that? Why do you act that way to my students and tell them these things? Guess what? The kid wanted to study martial arts, but the parents didn't put him in. Later they put him in. So a lot of times this underachiever really wants to be like you. I'm talking to the kids now. Or even to the adults, because you find underachievers putting you down. Remember, the underachiever wants to be more like you. They're envious, and they want to be like you. Now let's go. The athlete, the jock. You know, we're martial artists. We're jocks. But there's a difference. I always say the difference between a bully and a martial artist is respect. But that jock, that could be a martial artist, could be a football player, could be a soccer player, whatever sport you think of, usually keeps his group together. You know, he plays soccer, he's cool. That kid doesn't play soccer, he's a nerd. They act tough because they're physically stronger, they're good athletes. Well, that's great. But we got to be humble. We can't mistreat people. So, that jock could make fun of you because you're the worst player in the team, but at least you're playing. Could make fun of you because he's better than you. We once had a kid, never made it to black belt. One of the best, maybe 12-year-old, 11-year-old fighters, and our sparring is like a mixed martial arts in a safe environment. And I remember we have our inter-school tournaments, forms, weapons, sparring. And I remember another kid practicing in his garage, his form, and he comes by and he goes, "Hey, why are you practicing? You know I'm going to win." Guess what? I didn't know this when the tournament happened. But that day, that kid made a mistake in his form and didn't win. He might have won one division, but I think in 2 divisions did not win. He still placed, but he did not win. That is the jock. And again, all jocks, all underachiever, all smart people, and so on, are not bullies. I'm just saying there's different types of bullies. Now, let's go to the religious bully. There are religious bullies. What's a religious bully? Well, I'm a Christian. But there are Christians that are bullies. You might be from another religion and they make fun of you. They may not like your sin, but we're all sinners. They may not like whatever you're doing, even though you might be the same religion. They mistreat you. They don't hang out with you because you're of that religion. That is totally wrong. And then we have some of the religious bullies that mistreat the women. A lot of religions are mistreating women. Those are bullies. Later we're going to talk about the ultimate bullies. Those religions that mistreat women, don't let them get educated. Treat them bad. But we have them here in America. All religions are bullies. It could be a bully in your church that isn't bullying you because you're any different. He's just a natural bully. So we have the religious bully. Now, prejudice. What is prejudice? Well, I think everybody's prejudiced, but it's how we handle it. What do I mean everybody's prejudiced? We usually associate better with people that are more like us, but that doesn't mean we are going to mistreat other people. There's a difference between being a racist and being prejudiced, and it's both wrong. Even though everybody's got a little bit of prejudice in them. Somebody walks in for a job interview in my school, there's certain things I look for. Certain way that they talk, that they dress, that they look, because they got to be example to my students. That's prejudice. But that's not a bad prejudice, I don't think, anyway. How are people prejudiced? Well, other races. We go back to religion, even though religion is one. Other religion. Handicaps. You have a handicap. Some people are prejudiced. Could be you have some kid has ADD. Other things like that. And other kids will make fun of them, don't want to be their friends. That's being prejudiced. And it's not good. It's terrible. You have to make friends with everybody. You could say, don't be his friend, because he's weird. She's weird. Prejudice could be anything. There's different groups. You go to a high school. You got the preppy people. You got the smart ones, the intellects. You have the underachievers. You have the druggies. You have the religious people. You have all types of little groups, the athletes. All different groups. Some are good, some are bad. What are bad? Drugs are bad. Kids that are smoking, that's not good. Doing drugs is not good. But being prejudiced and mistreating people is what's wrong. So prejudice comes in so many forms, and a lot of the other types, you could say all of them, not all of them, most of them. Underachievers, jocks, all those are, ways to be prejudiced. Cool. The cool kid. That cool kid that we talked about. He's the coolest kid in the school. Yet he mistreats the other people. Going back to some. Remember the underachiever. It's one of the worst ones. The kid that doesn't get good grades, that fails in everything, that doesn't play good sports but makes fun of the athlete, makes fun of the one that gets good grades. And they all are wrong. But let's keep on going. The silver spoon. There's nothing wrong with being rich. Everybody wants to have money, wants to succeed. It's the American dream. But that silver spoon kid, that the parents gives them everything. When they get older, the parent gives them the car. Doesn't have to work. Maid picks up for them. They mistreat the maid. We have them here. Kids that have maids or nannies. And they mistreat them. I have to teach them, you can't mistreat that person that's taking care of you. That silver spoon kid might have the 8 years old with the latest smartphone. Makes fun of the other kids because they can't have it. Tells the other kids how much money their parents give them, and your parents don't give you this. Makes fun of the kids that don't have the correct cool clothing or new clothing. And again, there's nothing wrong. It's the American dream to be successful, to have things, to be wealthy. But when you mistreat other people, put them down and act like you're superior. They come into a store. Sometimes it's the parents too. Remember, they're adult bullies. They mistreat the people that work in the store because they feel that they're a higher class, that they have to be treated better because of their society standards and because of the money they have. That's another way of bullying. Vice. We talked a little bit before when we talked about prejudice. You have the kids. Recently, in the news, there was this kid that three kids were trying to sell drugs to him. And he said no, and he told them that's wrong, not to be selling drugs at his school. And they beat him up in the bus. That is prejudice of the kids with the vice. They should have been arrested. I think they were arrested. But you have those kids with vice that smoke cigarettes and want to force you to smoke. That do drugs and don't want you to hang out with them or want to force you to do drugs. So you could be like them, weak, and having a bad habit that can kill you. I remember as a kid, I got this older kid holding us down, sticking a cigarette in people's mouth to make them smoke. You know what saved me? Using my head. What? I didn't know what it was then because I didn't even know what Jeet Kune Do was, even though I had seen Bruce Lee already in the Green Hornet. Well, I used verbal Jeet Kune Do. I started telling him, which I wasn't lying, that I was allergic to smoke. I was. That I don't think it would have killed me, but I go, that could kill me, don't do that. I guess the kid thought I might kill this kid if I forced him to smoke. And that's what stopped that big, older bully from forcing me to smoke when he forced my other friends to do it. Sticking a cigarette in their mouth. So there's bullies that they want you to have their vice. Now, family members, an older brother, older sister, a cousin, that's a bully. Then mistreats you. And then that vicious cycle, you go and mistreat other kids. First of all, you shouldn't do that. But there are bullies that are family members. There are even parents, I hate to say this, parents that bully their kids by calling them names, making fun of them, and then that child is either has low self-esteem and is getting bullied worse, or because of their low self-esteem, they do the same to that other kid. I've seen them. Bully kids, and when I meet their parents are bullies too. And most of these bullies are weak. They might look tough, act tough, but deep inside they're weak. Because if you bully someone, if you mistreat people, you're a weak person deep inside. Now, cyberbullying. That has become, now it's a new type of bullying. With the internet, with Facebook. How many kids we hear in the news all the time committing suicide or trying to kill themselves because somebody made something up about them. Whether it's true or a lie, putting it on the internet, making them look bad. We've seen them all. Kids committing suicide because somebody puts on that they're out of the closet and they're gay. That the girl had sex with somebody and they videotaped her. Maybe the girl didn't even do anything and they say she's a slut, she's this, she's that. Or they just called you names. Well, the solution to it is not committing suicide, but it happens. Because most people have been bullied. And that bully usually comes out to have low self-esteem when he becomes an adult, low-paying jobs, unfit, overweight, with numerous problems, yet that kid that was bullying that survives and changes his life and gets empowered and confidence can become a president, a CEO, a star athlete, or like my friends that I talked about before, Kevin Kearns, Bud Jeffries, incredible athletes and developing athletes. Or someone like myself that everybody thinks that I was that jock. No, I was that skinny kid that got bullied, that fought a lot, but picked my fights. If the kid was too big or scared me too much, I let him bully me. But if I got that courage, I would fight the bully. But that's not the answer. The answer is, again, the art of fighting without fighting. Peace through strength. Develop your body, develop your techniques. Work on techniques, on verbalization, verbal Jeet Kune Do. That's what's going to change your life. And if I did it, if a lot of other athletes have done it, if a lot of CEOs have done it, a lot of successful people have done it, then you can do it with the art of fighting without fighting anti-bullying. Racism, or being a racist, that's bullying. But that's a special part of the art of fighting without fighting. One of the things that I admire of Bruce Lee was 3/4 Chinese, 1/4 German. His mom was half German. So Bruce Lee, he felt racism everywhere. In America, in China, anywhere. Why? Because he wasn't full Chinese. Even in his martial arts school, they didn't make him a disciple, a close-knit student, because he wasn't pure Chinese. But why is Bruce Lee a superhero or a hero to me? Not because of the movies he makes, not because of the great martial arts he taught. Because Bruce Lee fought racism. When the Chinese did not want to teach white people, black people, Hispanics, other Asians, Bruce Lee did. I'm also proud to say that my grandmaster, William Chung, around that same time was teaching non-Chinese, and he went through a lot in the Chinese community. But Bruce Lee, he comes to the United States teaching Wing Chun. He slowly then developed into Jeet Kune Do. But when he started teaching, he opened up to everybody. He started teaching whites, blacks, Japanese Americans, Filipino Americans. The Chinese community had a problem with him. And we got to understand the Chinese community. It was still racism. They felt that Americans and other people were bigger and stronger, did not understand the respect of Kung Fu that you're supposed to have, the etiquette and respect. So they felt these people are going to take our art, be able to beat us with it and mistreat us. Because they had been mistreated through American history. So here was what happened. But Bruce Lee was beyond that. Bruce Lee starts teaching them. That's that famous story you hear. That in the movie, it's not the real story, but the story goes something like this. The Chinese organizations write him that if he doesn't stop teaching non-Chinese Kung Fu, they're going to have a challenge match for him. Bruce Lee takes the challenge. Bruce Lee takes that challenge. He defeats the Kung Fu master, yet it takes him way longer than he thought. So, changing the subject a little bit, that's when Bruce Lee opens his mind and developed the first mixed martial arts in the world, Jeet Kune Do. He felt he needed more cardio, so he got his cardio stronger. He built his body stronger, and he started mixing. He started mixing the Kung Fu, Wing Chun, with the Tai Chi, with boxing, wrestling, judo, fencing, and later he mixed other arts. So I consider Bruce Lee a superhero fighting racism. And racism is everywhere. Everybody. Whites, blacks, Hispanics, Asians, everybody. You could find racists in every, and I've had it. Talk about a little bit about when I first moved. I originally lived, as I told you guys, we lived in Miami for a short time when we came from Cuba. After that, we moved to New York. 4 years, we had to move back to Florida because I was allergic to the cold weather and I was sick and all that, like I explained to you guys. We moved, originally in New York, lived in an Italian neighborhood, great. Never knew what prejudice was, I was the same as the other kids. Moved back to Miami Beach, Jewish neighborhood, oh my God, best time of my life. They treated me like I was part of them. They would give me Hanukkah gifts, we would give them Christmas gifts. But then I moved to the Virginia Gardens, Miami Springs area, and I love that town now. We were one of the first Hispanic families to move there. Well, we had the kids standing in the sidewalk screaming, "Go back to Cuba, we don't want your type here." that really destroyed me. And I didn't know what to do. I would scream back at them, I've been here longer than you, you know, I'm an American. Eventually, those kids figured out. They would tell me all horrors. Let me go back to that. All types of horrors. You Cubans, you jump people in groups. I go, I've never jumped nobody in a group. You pull out knives on people. I go, I don't, my God, I wouldn't even touch a knife. I'm a kid. I think I was 11 years old, 12. They told me all these horrors about Cubans. I believed some of them. Later they became my best friends and I believed it. But after they got to know me, they noticed that I was the same as they were. And pretty much people are the same. So racism is one of the things that I'm very proud of that Bruce Lee fought, and part of the art of fighting without fighting, anti-bullying. Let me give you some more examples of this specific type of bullying, racism. All races discriminate of people that are not of their own race. And I'm going to give you examples that I've seen or that I know of. Well, first of all, since I'm Hispanic, I'm a Cuban American. I consider myself an American, but I get classified as a Cuban American just because of my background. But when I worked in the prison as a correction officer, I remember sometimes they would confuse me for Italian. My last name is Anta. Doesn't sound Hispanic. It's actually a Spaniard. French Spaniard. Yet, most people think it's not Hispanic. But my first name is Julio. So that's simple. And I look, I think, stereotypical Cuban. Well, at the prison, I remember talking to an inmate that wasn't listening to me. And then I started speaking to him in Spanish. And he apologized and he said, "Oh, officer, I thought that you were Italian." I go, "What does that have to do with anything with following my orders?" And he goes, "No, because you speak too white. And your name is Anta." Well, that was a way of discriminating, which is also bullying. That happens to a lot of people. And I've also had Hispanic friends tell me, "Why do you hang out with those gringos?" Now, then there's another story that I'm going to use both. White Americans and black Americans. When I was in the Marine Corps, I was in administration school. And I didn't hang out with many of the Hispanics. There was very few there in Parris Island Administration School. They were pretty much, most of them were, into drugs. I'm not into drugs, never was, never will be. So I hung around. I've always gotten along with the Anglo-white American since I grew up in their neighborhoods. So I got along with them great. My best friend was from Virginia. But I also then worked out at the gym there. And I worked out mostly with blacks or African Americans. And it was funny how my white friends would tell me, "Why do you hang around with those black guys?" And then my black friends that I worked out with would always put down my white friends. And once we took a picture posing in Parris Island, and all they would tell me, "Oh, is that white guy you brought ruined the picture." So, as I said, not that everybody that's black, white, Hispanic is of racist, but there's racism in every race and ethnic group. So I actually added already some white American and some black racism to this, but let me keep on going. Blacks. Again, when I worked in the prison, worked at South Florida Reception Center, I would hear people the word cracker, cracker, cracker. A lot of times I would look. When it was an officer, "Oh, Anta, you ain't a cracker. You're Hispanic." But I remember when I had an inmate get mad because I was telling him what to do, and he called me a cracker too. I gave him a huge lesson on what that word meant, but called me a cracker, which is bullying, which is a word you shouldn't use. Now, I also remembered when I used to work doing deliveries. That's how I was a competitive bodybuilder. I was really big, so I don't know, these guys were a little nutty. And I was in a black neighborhood doing a delivery, delivered books, and I'm pushing my cart, and all of a sudden I hear them screaming, "Cracker this, cracker that, get the blank blank out of my neighborhood, we don't want your type here." I ignored them. I could have, honestly, these guys were so weak looking, I could have gone there and taken care of business, TCB, but you know what, that's what it's not about. I ignored them, did what I had to do. And, and I also remember my nephew Zachary Anta. Zachary same as us, Cuban American descent, yet he happens to have blonde hair and blue eyes. And that was horrible, because that kid is going to be growing up to be a racist. And my brother told me, you know, that he just ignored him, but, you know, we just feel bad for that kid. Zachary's playing in a playground or in the mall in one of those little playground things, and this kid looks at him, runs to his mom and goes, "Mommy, Mommy, look, look, blue eyes, blue eyes." You know, the kid was scared of kids with blue eyes. You know, what does that tell you? You know, it's terrible. It's terrible that, you know, anyone could, because the child had blue eyes, beautiful, good-looking kid, my nephew, but that a kid would do something like that. So that's some of my experience. I have way more. Way more. When I went to middle school, or what we call junior high, it was when President Nixon decided to desegregate the schools and we got bused. And so what happened is I lived in a white American neighborhood. Then the school that I went to was, I would say, predominantly Hispanic, with the white Americans and myself from where I lived in Miami Springs, Virginia Gardens area, and they bused kids from a black neighborhood. So what happens is, across the bridge was the Hispanic neighborhood, Hialeah. So this happened, and I saw the biggest horrors there. The biggest horrors, you know. Actually, the white kids are ones that I felt, the white American kids I felt sorry for. They were getting beat up by both the black and the Hispanics. And it was crazy. You know, we would be in the hall and we would see a black kid running and we would jump to the side, because sometimes they would just come and punch you in the face for no reason. And then another day, a Hispanic gang came in and started beating up every black kid that they saw. It was terrible. So there I saw a lot of racism. Now let's talk about what happens when some blacks or Hispanics end up in a white neighborhood sometimes. And again, guys, this is not every white person, every Hispanic, and every black person is like this. Here where I live in Doral, it's pretty mixed. It's predominantly Hispanic, with, after that, you would say whites and some blacks. And everybody lives great. This is a suburb, and, you know, everybody understands each other here. I'm talking more about, a lot of times it's in ghettos and lower income areas where you see all this racism and prejudice. But let's talk a little bit about white. Like I've said before, we talked about when I moved to the Virginia Gardens, Miami Springs area. And, you know, I've been called before a spick by white Americans. Yeah, what I've noticed is usually if there's going to be any discrimination against, you know, a black person, it's when they come into the white neighborhood or sometimes a Hispanic neighborhood. What happens is the police officers will keep an eye on him, thinking he might, what is he doing there? Is he going to steal? What is he up to? So that's a form of racism and prejudice. And then we can talk about stores. I worked at department stores. But this I've seen both with Hispanics and blacks and even Asians. Let me tell you this story first. I remember speaking to some Chinese people that I know. I've known a lot of Chinese people, and they were telling me that there's a black man that does martial arts. I think he does Tai Chi. And he walked into the restaurant, and the first thing they told him is, keep an eye on that black guy. And the guy spoke Chinese. He had gone to China, and he literally became their friends later and joked around it, but he's used to that. Now, I worked at a department store, as I was saying. And in the department store, a lot of times a black person comes in, and they'll tell you, keep an eye on that person. He might steal, he might do something. But what's ironic is that it's not because they're black, it's because they're American black. Because I remember one time, and then somebody goes, hey, stupid, can't you tell the accent? This guy's from the island. I don't remember which island, Jamaica, Bahamas, St. Croix. He's from the island. He's a decent black guy. You need to see him because he's going to spend a lot of money here. He's a tourist. So that actually is also, you could look at as being prejudiced in a good way. He's a tourist. He's from the island. He's going to spend money. He didn't come here to steal. Yet the African American or black American is coming to steal. So again, this does not happen. Everybody's not like that. But it's just to understand, because I taught cultural diversity at the prison for many years. I was certified by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, FDLE, to teach different classes. One of them was cultural diversity, and we got into these talks. And a lot of people feel that they're not racist, but they are. And everybody's not a racist. I believe everybody's a little prejudiced. We kind of feel better around people that are more like us. We might hire someone that looks a certain way. But racism is bullying. But let's not stop there. The Chinese. My grandmaster was Chinese, and I have a lot of Chinese friends. They literally call non-Chinese wide-eyed demons, because we might joke around, we stereotype Chinese, chop, 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 and we do this, right? They do the opposite. They open up the eyes and they talk like this. That's wrong. That's racism. It's being prejudiced. It's bullying people. And then we have the Chinese that call other Chinese bamboo. Bamboo plant is hollow in the middle. So what do they mean by bamboo? It's a Chinese person that doesn't act like a Chinese person, doesn't speak the language. In my family, my wife looks Asian, yet it's her great-grandfather. She has no idea. She never met him. Doesn't speak Chinese. And when we go to Chinatown and places, people speak to her in Chinese, and when she doesn't answer, some people have gotten mad. So I know they consider her bamboo. So as I was saying, everybody, and you know what, we could do a study. What one race calls the other, and that is bullying. And I think everybody's done it. At one point or another, even though I don't consider myself a racist, everybody's done something due to peer pressure at one time or another. Yet, we got to understand that it's wrong. And that it's part of bullying. And to stomp out bullying, we can't mistreat people, be racist towards them. And that's the only way we're going to stomp out bullying. If you see someone being bullied for their race or their ethnic group, then you need to stand up and be a superhero. There are numerous types of racist groups, such as the KKK and the Black Panthers. Another type of bullying is hate groups, such as Radical Islam and the Westboro Baptist Church. There are two types of leaders: dictators that lead through fear, and great leaders that people follow, such as Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. Dictators are bullies. Some of the worst have been Hitler, Mao Zedong, Che Guevara. Che could be classified as a dictator, racist, and a terrorist. He killed thousands of Cubans in firing squads. He hated blacks, and he talked about bombing New York City. Yet many people, including actors, are wearing his t-shirts without knowing the truth about him. And Joseph Stalin. Terrorists are bullies. They are cowards and kill innocent people. Who can forget the attack on 9/11 and Osama bin Laden? The Taliban is a radical Muslim group who shot this girl, Malala. Malala, a Pakistani teenage girl who just wanted an education. The Taliban are bullies, not letting women get an education or have equal rights. Malala is an activist for education and human rights, a true brave superhero. We must support Malala to end this radical Muslim hate and crimes on women. Gang members are also bullies. They attack you in groups, deal drugs. They steal and they kill. Breaking news. Well, it was breaking news while this video was being edited. By the time you see it, it's not. I wanted to add two cases of bullying that recently happened. The Miami Dolphins, Richie Incognito and Jonathan Martin case, and the infamous knockout game. The Miami Dolphins bullying case of Incognito bullying Martin can be classified as different types of bullying: adult jocks and racist bullying. This type of behavior occurs everywhere where men are united. I witnessed it at the gym as a competitive bodybuilder, as a law enforcement officer working at a maximum security prison, and in the Marine Corps. This is called locker room culture. This type of Behavior will always happen, yet you can overcome it and survive it by building your confidence and self-esteem, or what we call peace through strength. The knockout game is classified as a racist bullying act. Predominantly, black youth target innocent white victims. This is a dangerous, violent game that targets innocent bystanders. It has left people dead and others badly injured. The New York Police Department believes that it is a predominantly race-based hate crime. Bored teenagers sucker punch unsuspecting victims from behind on when not expecting it to see if they're strong enough to knock them out. Then they run. This is a difficult task to defend against, yet a good reality-based street self-defense situational awareness course is highly recommended to be able to survive an attack like this.